crisis in order to justify their cuts. Cuts are the goal, not the accidental byproduct. Cuts are what they're trying to do to cut costs so that the billionaires don't have to pay their taxes.
We lost our social emotional, we lost our after-school programs, we lost every little piece that makes an education an education. And what it is that when the state and the city cut funds, we have to cut programs. When we cut programs, kids go somewhere else. And what happens then? The state and the city continue to cut our funds. And when we cut the programs again, more kids leave. It is a system that is designed to fail. Again, it is a system that is designed to fail.
We lost 93 kids, and we're faced with $871,000 cut. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And so what I see is you guys are systematically starving out our public schools, and you're feeding the charters, and it's intentional. And it's very upsetting because the Chicago public schools belong to us. We're not the mayor's property. We're not the hedge fund manager's property.
So the only additional compensation is directly tied to other funds that CPS schools get. They are absolutely proportionately funded.
I don't buy that. And every time we set up a charter school network, we have an additional layer of bureaucracy to pay for. Another CEO of that network, another CEO of this network. We do pay for it. Maybe not through student-based budgeting, but they get allowances for that. I'm on the North Side Neighborhood Advisory Council, and I'm looking at the intrinsic budget, and I see that that's coming right out of CPS coffers. Thank you.
Beard is a specialty school for children with autism and special needs. It is an amazing program that is going to be absolutely positively destroyed by budget cuts. I wasn't going to give the number today. It's $1.9 million is being cut from a school for children with special needs. Beard may sound familiar to you. That's because about a week ago we were the victims of vandalism. Horrible, horrible hate speech was spray painted all over our school. The R word, calling my children names, swastikas, and everybody got all riled up. Everybody was crying and inflamed and like, oh, all this horrible stuff, graffiti, spray paint. Spray paint is not a threat to my child. Budget cuts are a threat to my child and children like him. The first thing when they came out, I had a speech, I'm not even using it. The first thing when they started talking about cutting budgets, the top 3 things they cut was special education. How can you make children who need extra help your first line of huge cuts? I've heard numbers like $42.1 million taken from children with special needs. I have heard about children now getting letters soon that they're being taken out of their cluster programs. They're all being merged. Change is hard for children with autism, and you are making it so impossible for us. Spray paint is not a threat. Rahm Emanuel, an unelected school board, Bruce Rauner, and budget cuts are a threat. My LSC is going to do the best we can, but we need everybody's help. Remember Canyon, you can't see him, he's sitting down here, and the children like him. Canyon, can you stand up? This is Canyon. Canyon is autistic. This will be his 4th year at Beard if he's allowed to attend there, and he has made amazing, amazing strides, and I thank the teachers, the paraprofessionals, and the staff at Beard Elementary. Please help us. Come on, buddy, let's go.
We're here at Madison Dearborn, right outside the Chicago Public Schools, and we're protesting because, once again, neighborhood schools have been underfunded and our children are going to be without library and gym and art and things we take for granted in normal class sizes. We are trying to hold Mayor Emanuel accountable for banks. Banks get the money, and we think children should get the money. So we're holding a protest in hopes that there's more equitable funding throughout the city today.
We're here in front of the Chicago Board of Education, their new headquarters. They're having their monthly board meeting today, public comment. They're also going to decide on $1.2 billion in new debt to pay off their existing debt. Part of that is $228 million for swap termination fees. These are swaps that have been found to be ill-gotten. benefits to the banks, where they misled the district in terms of the risk associated with these predatory finance instruments.
The sign is asking CPS and asking ROM, why are they giving money to the bankers for all their toxic financial deals they've done, instead of just buying books for our classrooms. They're giving money to LaSalle Street and the financiers instead of giving money for things like social workers and restorative justice coaches. They've been paying out these dirty no-bid contracts, and instead of paying out for actual clean schools, we're talking about the Aramark contract, they're giving money to big business instead of paying for small classes. These are the things that would help our students, help our children, and instead they're choosing to give the money to the people that don't even need it. We're glad Vitali's gone. What they put in his place is just more of the same. That's why we need an elected representative school board now. We're sick of this. We're sick of these people in power ignoring the vast majority of people in this city.
Toxic slums are unfair. Treat our children with love and care.
How do we get an elected school board? I think, formally it takes a law in Springfield. There's been certainly voters in Chicago have expressed themselves overwhelmingly for an elected school board, having seen what Rahm's personal dictatorship over the school system has done to that system. So I think it's correct for us to insist that we should have an elected school board. And it's just going to take pressure. And maybe the thing is, if we get an elected school board, they'll elect the people they want. They'll put money in. It'd be good to get rid of Rahm's dictatorship, but it won't change things fundamentally. What'll change things is if working people really fight.
There's going to be a noble school built about 2 blocks away from our school. And if noble schools are built, the programs from my school might be taken away. There will be budget cuts. And if the programs are taken away from our school, the programs that have made such a really big impact on not only me, but other students' lives are going to be taken away. I'm involved in a few programs at Kelly High School, one of them being Cantantes, which is the school's chorus. I'm also involved in drama, Brighton Park Neighborhood Council's tutoring, and Escalera this summer, which is a college preparedness program. If a noble school is moved into our neighborhood, we could lose these programs that have made such a really big positive impact on not only me, but a lot of students' lives.
I would tell them that we need money in our schools. We're already achieving so much, but with money we could even do better.
So regarding the objective of the Illinois Network of Charter Schools appears to have rallied teachers and students from many non-unionized charter schools. Andrew Broy, who's the president or CEO of Illinois Network of Charter Schools, which is the principal lobbying group for charters in Chicago, which consistently lobbies for more charters, less regulation in charters, and unfortunately, although we've asked them many times, they don't argue for greater funding for, education in general. Instead, they seem content to argue for a higher proportion of funding to charters, which of course fits in with this privatization agenda, which is going to starve public schools and lead to more closures and more charter schools. Unfortunately, it's like a business model of education, and as a lobbying group for charter schools, their sole focus seems to be moving that money and moving those schools from the public governance into private governance as charter schools. So they rallied parents here today and students. I can only say to protest. There was a funding issue with the charter schools. The first tranche of funding that they got this year, for the new school year, they only got 15% of that funding. They're promised that they'll get the other 85% at some date in the near future. The full amount hasn't been specified yet. So it's a real problem, and I think we're going to see a lot of smaller charter schools that are maybe not run as well. They may close. They may have to start later in the year. They may not be able to start on time. And this is, really damaging. If schools are being closed because they're financially not able to absorb, when Austerity is cutting their budgets and delaying their payments, if they're financially unstable and they have to close, it's terrible for kids. Schools should not be closed because of financial instability. And, opening late, it just exposes another defect in this model of privatization with the schools.
We know that the district came to this brink of financial crisis because of decisions they made, not because of decisions in Springfield or what the governor did. You know, they set up these toxic swaps that have cost us $500 million that they've refused to prosecute despite ample evidence that the banks intentionally deceived the district. So, you know, this is a day of infamy where they're going to pay these banks $228 million to cancel these swaps that they really should be paying us because they deceived us, and simultaneously they're cutting from the school budgets in the same amount. So they cut 1,400 positions from the schools, $200 million. They're giving with those cuts to the banks, $228 million, even though they had legal recourse. The Tribune just showed Houston sued for millions of dollars. CPS has the highest exposure to these illicit swap deals. They could get that money back. They refused to do it. They sat on their hands. That's outrageous, unconscionable. We're here to say our schools don't need to be cut. We need to be expanding programs and services. We need more counselors, more social workers. We have an epidemic of violence in this city.
There's enough money, except it's all going to the top. It's obvious to everybody in this country, not just all the demonstrators out here. You can't keep this game going. Mr. Rauner, bring back your money from all the tax savings. And Ram, I know the corporations are going to give you millions of dollars when you retire. You'll probably make nice speeches. I hope you have a good joke writer. Forget about it. The people of Chicago are tired of that crap. We're just tired of it. We're the ones who produce the money for this country. We're the ones that produce the money in this city. And we're tired about you giving it to corporations. We don't need to be business friendly. We need to be people friendly and worker friendly.
Stand up, fight back! And what are we doing? Stand up, fight back!
I'm pretty sure that the cash will flow as soon as the process gets sufficiently completed. But I would like to remind everybody what Ginger said. You know, this board, at least in its direct authority, it has limited ability to raise revenue. And in a direct sense, this board has acted to raise every dollar of revenue that it has the authority to vote on.
In this climate, we may all have to make sacrifices. We may all have to make some sacrifices. We may all have to make some sacrifices.
We refuse to accept the logic of this financial crisis as if it's a weather system that blew in on the winds. It did not blow in on the winds. It blew in on the backs of bankers and politicians that made it blow in. It's by design, and we will fight back because we are not willing to accept that the financial titans who run this system, who have plenty of wealth, they have plenty of wealth. Sisters and brothers, is there anyone here who doesn't believe they have plenty of wealth? No. Look around you. Look around you. They have built buildings to the sky as monuments to their wealth and power.
Healthcare Illinois, Indiana has asked for everybody who's able to support their protest. We're going to march down there and support our brothers and sisters who are fighting for decent child care assistance program benefits for families, as well as decent working conditions for child care providers.
We're out here protesting these cuts to the child care program, and more so because we're in front of one of Governor Rauner's cronies who is getting billions and billions of dollars, but yet our governor wants to cut our program, but he doesn't want to tax the rich. And so that's the purpose. It's about bringing attention to what's going on in our state. You know, we've got these millionaires and billionaires here in our state, but yet our governor wants to cut our vital program and services for our children, our seniors, and our kids, and so it has to stop. This drawing depicts two peas in a pod, one being Governor Rauner and the other is Ken Griffin. He's one of Rauner's cronies. He's one of the billionaires that is not paying his fair share of taxes.
What do you think it costs to make that statue in the gold leaf it and compared to the money that he's giving you?
It costs more money than probably what a couple of months of our program. You know, it's a substantial amount of money So I mean, I couldn't begin to say how much that statue is worth, but I can tell you how much is our state is losing by Rauner's actions and not supporting our children, not supporting the vital services. And it's not only just about the funding, about the money, it's about preparing young children for our future. They are our future. And so when we do not invest in their care and their education, then we lose tremendously as not only as a state, but as a country. So when we look at what's invested, then this is for show. What can we do with this? Where can we take this? This cannot do anything for our children, for our state, but make a mockery out of our programming.
They refuse to call for progressive income taxes on the wealthy, even though we have one of the most regressive tax systems in the country. They refuse to hold the banks accountable. They refuse to stop corrupt practices like the soups contract, Aramark, privatization. All of these things would have put us on a path to sustainability. Instead, schools are despairing over vicious cuts.